24/7. 24/7.
Bold Moves Radio.
Bold Moves Radio.
Afrika nakupenda sana. Oh, Afrika nakupenda sana.
Africa, nakupenda sana ngo, Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, you know when you hear that sound that you have a date with me, Dr. Hlami Ngwenya. This is the African Experience on Bold Moves Radio. Wow, it feels so good, to be back broadcasting live, from South Africa after such a long, travel schedule and all that. I'm not alone. I'm always with my beautiful co-host, Mandla Aventina waka Mabunda. Mandla, good evening, my sister. Good evening.
Reperile Doc, it's nice to be back home, and I cannot wait to just sit and we have a chat. I'm sure the topic will be interesting. So welcome to our guests and looking forward to an exciting show.
Absolutely. It was very exciting to be with you last week, in Rome and gallivanting the streets of Rome and all that. And we'll be talking a little bit about that because I want us to reflect that. And the reason why I want us to reflect on this is that, ladies and gentlemen, we are actually finishing or closing the month of October, which is famously known to be the Food Security Month. We have seen either at national level, community level, not only in South Africa, but everywhere where people are talking about anything and everything around food security. We see people, planting vegetable gardens, and there are just a lot of activities in the month of October, and it's known to be the Food Security Month. Mandla, I know you probably have experienced that also in your spaces where everybody is going up and down and really celebrating the month of October as Food Security Month. Have you experienced that in your space?
Yes, October, it's always a busy month for any key player really in the food value chain. So as usual, Masana Dietitians was called in a number of activities where we were celebrating and really promoting the day, and really the aim in a nutshell of World Food or World Food Security Day. It's really the aim is to promote healthy eating, healthy diets, and with the bigger vision of, meeting the eradication of hunger by 2030 goal. As we might know, our SDG goal number 2 is to eradicate hunger by 2030. So that day in particular seeks to highlight that and seeks to advise people and promote and advocate for healthy eating, better quality of life, all the things that seeks to improve our lives. Yes. So Masana has been participating in this for the longest time, more than 20 years of our existence now.
Absolutely. Maybe just to take our listeners a little bit back, I know I've seen, people participating, other countries as well, but a lot of people might not know the reason behind, that World Food Day, which officially the World Food Day is on the 16th of October, but we know that people are celebrating Food Security Month, throughout the month of October. Maybe just for the sake, of the listeners there, just to take them a little bit step back, why the 16th of October is that, important day. We know there's the United Nations, and within the United Nations, there are different, specialized agencies, and one of them is Food and Agriculture Organization. So the Food and Agriculture Organization was founded on the 16th of October in 1945. Back then, just, after the Second World War II. And we are told that it was actually the first UN, specialized agency to be established. So literally the 16th of October, it's actually the birthday of, Food and Agriculture Organization. Hence, the hype and the celebration around it. I hope, people will remember that when we celebrate, the World Food Day on the 16th of October. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so interesting how the world looks at food, and sometimes I don't know, maybe in the rush of life and things, we tend to forget that food, it's what is maintaining us in life. But now, Doc, maybe let's backtrack a bit and tell us about your role in particular. I know you mentioned the birth date and the global stage, but if you can unpack it a bit as far as linking all the international bodies and how we fit in as South Africa, and maybe also your role as a facilitator and a company in that space.
Okay. So, I mean, for me, man, I know I like to simplify things. And I think last time when you profiled me, I did mention that. For us to simplify things, I always say people need to understand the United Nations as you have to see it as the global government, so to say. So South Africa as a nation or any other nation, we have our own government, and government has got different departments. So people have to understand the UN in the same way, where you have, this global government that has got, different departments, but, those departments are called the specialized, agencies. Sorry, the UN specialized agencies, and food and agriculture is one of them. And our different countries, like South Africa included, and many other countries, are the signatories of the United Nations. So anything that happens at the United Nations, any decision that takes place at that level, those decisions are actually taken through the contributions of the countries that are part of, the UN. So the UN, nothing happens without, the countries that are actually part of that. And there are a lot of, different platforms that enable countries to participate, but also enable individuals and organizations beyond member states or countries to actually participate and engage. The second week of October, where the 16th falls in, there are a lot of, activities that are going on at the UN agency, FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization headquarters, which is in Rome. So hence me commuting, in and out Rome most of the time is because the headquarters of the Food and Agriculture Organization is there. And I happen to be doing a lot of, consultancy assignments and supporting them in different, activities and all that. Yeah. I don't know if that links. So those policy or maybe voluntary guidelines as they call it, and it does affect, how we do our business as countries, but vice versa. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm.
No, no. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. And I hope a lot of people could take more interest and and really find out the role of food and food security and how really we are what we eat. So it will be interesting to take this conversation further and maybe inspire someone who's interested to enter into the stream of food or the food value chain in one form or the other to really participate, because this is not only at individual bread and butter matters, but I mean, it talks to the national level, talks to, I mean, the global level, as we have seen in the past few weeks that we were in Rome.
Yeah. So maybe, Mandla, just for us to take, a step back, because I know a lot of people might still be thinking this is something that is abstract. I don't know how I link, how I coordinate, how I get involved. I will want us to put aside a little bit, those activities that are happening at the global level, but really come back to South Africa, and where people can see how different small companies, small, medium enterprises, individual can actually contribute. beyond, your primary production. And I know people when we think about food and we think agriculture, people think, okay, I have to be a farmer. And we always say there are a lot of, things that one can do. I just want to put you on the spot, Mandla. I know in the past, 6 or maybe 2 months, literally, in the past 2 months on the show, we have been profiling, different people. And I think we had maybe about 4 or 5, or if not 6 people who are coming from your agro processing, value chain, that were bragging and showcasing some of the beautiful work, that they are doing. I would like you, and I remember when they were talking, some of them will always say, Sesmandla, thank you so much for your support. Sesmandla, thank you so much for your support. And I know you don't want to be put on the spot in this way. I want you to share with the listeners why these people are thanking you, or maybe people that you are working with. Because sometimes the things that we do in the background, nobody see the value of it until, you see the final product. What is Masana Dietitian doing in that space of, agro processing? And I'll tell you why I want us to talk about this, because I know there's something that is happening in the country currently, which can be linked to that. Do you mind, sharing a little bit? What is your role, and why is it important?
Okay, thank you. And I guess I cannot duck and dive like you say this time around. So I'll briefly just paint a picture of what Masana does. So there's a company built on two pillars, right? All of them linked to food security or the food value chain, in the sense that the first pillar we focus on food manufacturing. So we manufacture products, intentionally manufacture products that seeks to help prevent or manage malnutrition in all its form, be it overweight, malnutrition, that. And then the second pillar of which
Hold on,
you
Mandla. Hold on, Mandla. I just want maybe just to make a quick follow-up on that, production or manufacturing,
okay.
because I know, and I just want us to unpack a little bit, because remember, when people think of agriculture, food, they think of a farm. So a farmer is producing, by growing, the food. You are talking about manufacturing, which is different from, I just want you to unpack that. It's different from growing, the food, but you are in the manufacturing of the the products. No?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
100%. So when we talk about our food manufacturing pillar, this is what is now currently called agro processing. So in our value chain, it starts with the farmer. All of it starts with the farmer, by the way, who gives us what we call our raw ingredients, which is mainly maize in our stream of manufacturing. So we take the maize and we work on the maize. We process the maize so that we can now have different types of products that we want to develop for our end users, which is our customers. One such product is what is widely known as NutriBoost. It's flighted everywhere. It's also distributed in a number of government channels. So that is one. And then the second pillar now, it's the academy or the training part of Masana Dietitians, where we focus on training people on how to adhere or comply to all the food safety regulations within the country. So to simplify it, for example, we work with government entities such as, let's say, the Food BEFSITA, which is the sole mandate agency in South Africa tasked with contributing towards skills development in the food and beverage manufacturing space. So they will contract service providers, accredited training service providers, who are going to roll out a number of programs. So Masana Dietitians is one of those accredited training service providers. What our role is that we go out in the community, we identify all the people or all the SMMEs or all the interested parties in the food space who are interested and also are suitable or qualified to become part of what we call learning programs. So our learning programs are sometimes they long-term, which is like 18 months or so, and sometimes are short-term in terms of skills program, which could be anything from 6 days to 3 months to 6 months. And then what we focus there is the whole value chain of food, processing of food sector value chain, which is now from what we call farm to fork. So in a nutshell, if I can break that down, is that from now primary production where the farmer plants, they need to understand what are the compliance requirements for me to be able to plant safe and nutritious food products. So they need to understand, and one such example of the standard, there will be what we call a local gap. And then we move on to someone who's now in the value chain. All they do is just to have warehouses where they store, whether it's raw ingredients or finished products. Again, because we are talking about food and the way, the magnitude that food carries in relation to the quality of our lives, even those people who are storing need to comply to some food safety standards. And then we come to the food processors. That's where Masana also participate in the other pillar. It's people who use different types of ingredients to make up food products. So those food products, they need to comply with a set of regulations that is mandated by the Department of Health, DTI, and Department of Agriculture and Rural Development. So after that, we have people who are only tasked with distributing. The distributors within the value chain also, they need to comply with food safety standards, because you can't distribute food and you have it exposed and not covered and exposed to what we call the elements, which is the environmental changes. So you can't do that. You need to comply with that. And then at the end of that is the retailers. And then maybe the retailers as well. What are you selling to the people? Is your store okay? Is it conducive for you to be selling food? Is it clean? Are the walls clean? Are there windows? Are all these things? So Masana Dietitians is tasked with teaching everyone who's playing in each and every part of this value chain to comply with food safety standards. So that's how we...
I love that, and I know I would like to maybe ask a little bit more, but it's time for us to pay the bills. We'll take a commercial break. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go away. We are talking about, food month. We are closing the food month, but, really the issues of food safety is very important, and we'll pick on that. Let's take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll continue to unpack these and see where your opportunities are. Don't go away.
Are you ready for the ultimate dietary powerhouse? Look no further than Masana Dietitian's Nutro Boost. Our scientifically formulated low GI food is designed to give you the boost you need to fuel your body and reach your health goals. With Nutro Boost, you have the flexibility to enjoy it as a high-fiber cereal or a satisfying shake. Simply mix it with water and indulge in the mouth-watering flavors that we have to offer. But that's not all. Nutro Boost is packed with essential nutrients that are beneficial for your overall well-being. Enriched with 20 immune-boosting vitamins and minerals, it's a convenient and effective way to support your immune system. And here's the best part. NutriBoost is gluten-free, egg-free, and high in omega-3, making it suitable for those with dietary restrictions or allergies. Need an energy boost? NutriBoost has you covered. It's high in energy and protein, providing you with the fuel you need to power through your day. Whether it's a busy morning or an intense workout session, say goodbye to midday slumps and hello to sustained energy with Nutro Boost. Try it today and experience the difference. For orders or to become a distributor, contact us on the following details.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the African Experience, the show where we tell, African stories, where we talk, to people who are doing, excellent work, the people who are doing things that can actually inspire us. And today, I've just put, my co-host here on the spot, and I know she didn't see it coming, but it is such an important, topic that we are discussing because we are talking about the Food Security Month, which we are closing, and I just put her on the spot, just to explain a little bit what her company does. The advertisement that you have just seen and something that we are using, on the show, that NutriBoost, that is exactly one of the products that a hair company has actually done. And I think it is important for people to know because we see those kind of things and we see it on the shelf. Sometimes you don't associate it with somebody who look like me. And I'm so proud, that Manda, I'm working with you and I can see the face behind, those products. And thank you so much for allowing me to put you on the spot on this. We were still talking about the food safety. Here there is a person who it's kind of, doing something very small and they don't think, the issues of compliance is important. What would you say? And the reason why I'm saying this currently in South Africa, I mean, in the past, 2 weeks or 3 weeks, we have been hearing in the news where children have died because they ate something that was not safe to eat, something that they bought, something from, this shop, and I think things like that. And I think the issues of food safety becomes very critical. Why is it important?
So in trying to summarize or simplify, I'd like to use this explanation to people who think, no, but I'm just baking here and there, this will not cost anything. You cannot afford, because let's talk about eating, Doc. The minute you put something in your mouth, after digestion, whatever it is that you have eaten actually filters right until your blood. That's how important this thing. So now, you cannot afford, because you cannot afford not to comply to any food safety system. There must be a level of food safety standard that you comply with. Why? Because of the impact of one tiny little mistake that thing can do to someone's life, in someone's health. So, I mean, picture chewing a gum. It looks like it's very tiny and it looks like it doesn't do anything. But after chewing that gum, when the sugar is out of that gum, that sugar is now directly in your blood after digestion, just to simplify. So you can imagine any mistake. And what is even worse for our country, where we have high levels of immune compromised individuals, for whatever reason, their immunity is already suppressed. So one mistake, you send them over the limit, which could even result in their death. So you don't want to play with people's health like that. So whether ubaka Ngwenya akoneni, whether you are just preparing for a construction site, whether you own a small spaza shop, you need to comply with food safety standards. The question that people can say is, which one should I comply with? Because then that depends on the part, or your part of the value chain, then will dictate which is the basic level of compliance as far as food safety is concerned. What happened in Soweto in Naledi with the 6 kids having passed away due to food poisoning should have never happened, Doc, if I can say that way. Should have never happened. The health professionals, even the people themselves who own the spaza shops, should be accountable and hold themselves accountable and commit to really complying to this food safety standard. Because what a waste. What a waste of life. And they thought they were buying something very minor to eat, yet to get to find now it's found that it was laced with some chemical that is poisonous and so you
Yeah.
cannot afford not to comply.
Okay. Look, Mandla, I'm actually, would like to make a little bit of follow-up here.
Mm,
There are two things that I have picked as we are talking. Um, you talk about, the compliance to which one. I think in your introduction, you mentioned local gap, and I know
mhm,
the global gap, but
mm,
also something that is very important. You said as your company,
mm,
you are accredited. So it's not everybody that can just provide this kind of training. That person need to be accredited, which
mm.
means you are you are qualified to actually do that, and you are qualified to also give a certificate. Is that correct?
100%, Doc.
Right.
So when we say accredited company, it
Mhm.
means you have been rubber stamped by the food bev SETA or whatever legal entity it has
Mhm.
got the mandatory right to give you the license to go and train people
Yeah. Yeah.
on food safety and related matters. So
Mhm.
that is what Masana Dietitian has. And now we not only have food bev, but we also are accredited by the QCTO, which is now like the latest body in terms
Yeah.
of overseeing the sitters. So yes, it's a license to go and train anyone within the value chain of food in the matters relating to food safety. Masana
Okay.
dietitians can do that.
Yeah. And the accreditation, it's not something that you get today and it stays forever. You constantly are checked if you are still complying, you have to renew and all that. Is that correct?
100%. So with each and every project, there's what we call moderations. So
Mhm.
the food bev SETA or QCT, or they will send their own moderators. You call
Mhm.
them, they just inspectors, Katlele, in layman, in layman terms. So they come and inspect at three types of intervals. So there's induction when you begin to check that everything is in order, your
Mhm.
material is recent and compliant, and at 50%, which we call interval moderation, are you still compliant? Are you following the policies of the
Mhm.
SETA? And at the exit moderation, now they check the overall implementation before you can even be given the go ahead to hand out the certificates.
Okay, good. I think I'm done, putting you on the spot on this. I think perhaps maybe because this is really important, perhaps maybe we could have a follow-up and look at that. But now I want to go back to how we started, how I started, asking you about this. I
Mhm.
know there's food safety where people have to eat, things that are not poisonous and blah, blah, blah. But I want to bring it back, to the entrepreneurship, because
Mm,
I asked you this question because of, the six people that we had interviewed, in the past, month or
mm,
so. And they kept on, making reference to the support that your company and maybe others have given in terms of, those food safety and all that. Fast forward, they are complying to this. How is this putting them on the path on the entrepreneurship, space? In terms of, market access and things like that. I want us, to bring, these linkages so that people know that it's not about cutting the corners. You can't cut the
mm,
corners because
mm.
every little thing that you do actually put you on the path, to success. How do you link that with what we have seen with those brilliant, people that we have profiled in the recent past?
So the design of that program is beautiful, if I might say so, Doc, because it takes an entrepreneur through the journey of now starting with the basics of compliance. Do
Mhm.
you know the sector that you're in? Once you understand that, and we help them to actually meet some of the basic compliance requirements. So they do get certification along the journey of this program to be compliant with the food safety standards. Like, for example, there's what we call the basic compliance certificate, is called the certificate of acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
80% of the people that are in the program now, we get to apply for them. We take them through the journey and they get certified. Once we know that they know the compliances, we build the confidence in terms of them being players in the food space. We teach them the language of the sector, how to present themselves, how to position themselves, how to brand their products, because there's a lot that goes into that final product that you see sitting on the shelf. Someone thought about what you will think when you see that. So we teach them about market insights, branding and promotions and all those things. And then after that, we organize markets. You remember they were talking about the city of Johannesburg as local government that comes in and assists in having market days. That is the platform where they play and practice what they've learned in class. Now they are able to present themselves to what is considered potential clients who are actual buyers from all walks of life. And then from there, then we give them market exposure as well by bringing in the retailers. We bring in retailers to come and have a look at this. We send them the information on the project. We send them and they send us their requirements for someone to be part of their supplier development or be listed in their stores. And then we help them again. We help them with compliance as far as the retailing side is concerned. And I kid you not, just this morning, one of the ladies who came, I think you remember Ting Tang, who came with her daughter, where they are manufacturing different types of healthy tea. Just this morning, she just sent me that they got listed at a few spas.
Wow.
So you can see that from beginning to end, we are there with the entrepreneur, holding their hand, making sure that they present themselves as astute business people playing in the food sector space. And people should understand that is one of the most overcrowded spaces. So for you to even get that opportunity to get listed at a big retailer such as Spa, you must have gone through, hoops and whatnot for you to be able to do that. So that program is designed to do that. And it wouldn't be the way it is, really, I must say, Doc, without the partnerships and the collaborations that we have, strategic partnerships that we have established along the way. I'm talking about the NGOs that are taking care of these entrepreneurs, because you don't get them from the sky. They belong to somewhere. So you need to be in partnership with that. We're talking Food Bev because it's the main funder of the whole program. And then we have someone like the city of Joburg who also gives us the premises, because we are training all over the city of Johannesburg in 4 districts. So like during the week it's always hectic. I'll be telling you, oh, Doc, I'm late, what not, because we are running in all the 4 districts in Gauteng. So that is how extensive the program is. So in a nutshell, we walk the journey of being an entrepreneur in the food sector space with an entrepreneur, right from understanding the sector compliance and right to listing on a retail shelf of a big retailer.
Yeah, I'm not letting you off the hook with this. Let's say there's somebody listening, somebody, I'll use Guyana as an example because that's where we come from. If there's somebody in Guyana, or maybe Toyando or wherever, where they are listening and they say, wow, that is something that, we would like, to do. How do they go about it? Could they just contact Masana or how? Because you spoke that you are doing this a lot in the city of Johannesburg. But if you're looking at, Giyani, Polokwane and all that, if people want, something like that, how do they go about it?
Okay, so there's 2 ways of approaching this. The first one is that as Masana, we apply for what we call the discretionary grant. So we apply with the food bed sitter, and then they allocate a number of empty seats, if I can put it that way. It can range from anything from 1 to 10 to 50 to 100, depending on their criteria and allocation requirements.
Mhm.
And then we will say, I'm sure you've seen a couple of times, I'll go and say, we are looking for, on LinkedIn, I'll say, we are looking for. And then
Mhm.
people will just enroll because I'm sure there will be contact details. They enroll and they go in. That is the
Mhm.
easiest. But the easier one, it's
Mhm.
when someone, Agiyani, they're
Mhm.
already in the food space. Let's say they own a spaza shop. Let's talk about spaza shops. So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is someone who is already servicing the community Agiyani by selling them or
Mm,
giving them a space where they can shop for these food products. Now,
mm,
they can apply to the food BEF SETA, right,
mhm.
as the company that seeks to have their people trained.
I
So
see.
when they apply, they can put in a number from 1 to 1,000, whatever number they want to train. And
Mm,
then they appoint Masana dietitians as their accredited training service provider.
okay.
In that way, you are able now to determine the number of people that you want to be trained in your community. You are able to also make sure that the training is localized. So
Mhm.
people do not have to travel long distances for them to go and get the training Yamasana dietitian. And I find that that one works best because then when we are doing recruiting, because
Mhm.
again, these programs sometimes lend themselves to be exploited because there's a stipend involved, and you know how it goes when there are stipends. Anyone can just apply only to find that they don't even have any interest in the
Anything.
food space. So when
Agree.
it's someone who's within the community, for example, Agiani, Bana Spaza Shop, they're able to help in the recruitment and the
Mhm.
selection process and help us to vet the relevant people who can benefit and take this information and run with it. Because that's one thing that we do as Masana. We don't only focus on giving you technical know-how, leaving you with a certificate, and that's it. We
Mm,
want to be training and empowering people who will take the information, go
mhm.
and implement it in their businesses.
Yeah.
So that's how you can become part of this training.
Yeah, I love that, and I think people have seen the ad, how to contact, Masana dietitians, because I know there will be a lot of people who want, to know this. Because I'm just thinking, I mean, Gianni, Minkariati, Mango, and all that. There
Mm,
could be a lot of people who get into the agro processing as a business, to package and all that. Because I mean, I've seen the
mm,
people that and people who have not seen this, if you just go online, you go to African Experience and you go back, maybe like the 4 or 5, shows that we had, and you get to see how these young people were doing, processing and juice and what. It's such amazing, the branding, everything. It's really, really amazing. And I would really encourage people just to go back, on our shows and just look for those, a video and look at it. You'll feel so inspired. I felt so inspired to an extent that I had to put my my co-host here on the spot.
oh, you're a
And,
doc. And if I may add, Doc,
mm,
all this,
mm,
they do not pay a single cent. They do, whether you're a business, all you need to do is
mm,
just to follow Food Sita on all the social media channels. You just plug in Food Sita on Facebook,
mm,
Instagram, LinkedIn. They
mm,
have what they call discretionary grant open windows. You
mm,
just simply apply. When you just select the qualification that you want to be trained on or your area that you want to be trained on.
mm,
Bona, they are going to do the rest. And there's what we call an open window period now. It's actually still open until end 2025, where
mhm,
you can put down a
mhm,
proposal, simple proposal. There's a template there. You just populate your information, and then they ask you, why do you think you need intervention in that? Let's say it's food security.
mm,
They say how many people, and obviously because we are trying to do redress as a country, they will ask you the race, the gender, the age, all
yeah,
those things. You
mhm,
just simply do that, and then they ask you if you have an accredited training provider that you know. So
And my
obviously,
Sana is there. My Sana is
Masana
there.
is here. And what is lovely about us, Doc, is
Mm,
that we really tailor this
yeah,
otherwise technical training
yeah,
in your local language. So all 11 official languages and our examples when we are, for example, we can talk to, okay, not to say ideally, but we cannot be using examples of broccoli and whatnot when we are talking to people. We
we,
use indigenous foods that are local
yeah,
for them, but we make them see now the importance of preparing or working or handling that in a
yeah,
safe way. So
absolutely.
people must not think this thing is expensive. And that's one area we're always talking about how as government, we don't know how to market what we do as a country. This is
Mm,
one area where I believe government is doing things right.
mm, mm,
For
mm,
such a key area, food safety, you don't pay anything. You actually also get a stipend if you're unemployed. And the stipend is to ensure that when we say come to the city for the training, you do
mm,
have money for transport and you're
mm,
able to buy yourself some lunch as you are learning. So this,
absolutely.
this is a beautiful intervention.
This is so beautiful. I love that. And thank you so much. And I
Yeah,
know I really put you on the spot here. I know the show would have been nicer if you had agreed beforehand that, I put you on the spot, because then this will be accompanied by pictures. Because
no,
now I just put you on the spot and you didn't want to talk about this. So we
no,
don't have accompanying pictures so that
no,
people see the thing that we are talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the African experience. I love it. I love it because I just put my co-host here on the spot. We are trying to wrap up, the October Food Security Month. And I thought, it is very, very important, to talk about, these food safety issues because of all the shenanigans that has been happening in our country where people are dying because, and young children are dying because they ate, something that they bought in spother shops and things like that. And yet there are systems in place in this country where
Mhm.
everybody can be able to find, that adherence, to those, food safety standards. And thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you so much,
No, no,
Manda.
no, thank you. But we can't, it's the show, it was not a Masana dietitian's show, but it's okay. Now we'll come back to World Food Security Day and what is happening. So you need to tell us about, now we were talking local. We were talking South Africa and what's happening internally. Now let's take it outside. You play more on the global space. So as far as the World Food Forum is concerned, and as far as CFS is concerned, we throw in these terms because they come naturally to us because we've been playing in the space for a while. But for
Yeah.
someone who says, I like what these ladies are talking about, but I don't even know where to start. We spoke locally. How can someone now explain all this in a global space where you are currently a key player?
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much, Manda. I'm working mainly in the global space and all that. And I like, okay, with the Food and Agriculture Organization that I spoken about earlier on, there are a lot of things that are happening there. But I just want to focus on two key events that are happening in Rome. So the first event, it's the event that is happening on the second week of October. So that is the week where the 16th, the day of the 16th falls. Remember, I said the 16th of October, that is the birthday of Food and Agriculture Organization. So there are a lot of things that are happening there. Uh, there is what they call the World Food Forum. So it's a global celebration, including that World Food Day. So there are a lot of people that are coming to Rome. I mean, this year alone, during that week, we had almost 9,000 people, a record of 9,000 people that made it, to the FAO and all that and the celebration. And what I like is the celebration also, young people were there, indigenous people, and it's celebrating food and. So that was really, really interesting there. But now, alongside the World Food Forum, there was also what they call the Science Innovation Forum. So FAO was also celebrating science and innovation in the space of food. But remember, we're talking about the food value chain. So this year, I'll ask DJ Messi to put some pictures there. So I got invited by the Food and Agriculture Organization to come and facilitate some of the side events that were happening at the Science Innovation Forum. So I facilitated 2 events there. The first one was the first ever kind of award ceremony, or maybe award science innovation award around the farmer field schools. That is something that the Food and Agriculture Organization it's doing. But also I facilitated another event on the scaling innovation. So they bring different people from different countries to share what they're doing within the agri-food space. So, and I like the conversation that we had, Mandla, because food production is one thing. You spoke about agro-processing and you explained it nicely, but there's science that is happening in the food systems. There's this and that. So there are a lot of, things that are happening there. So that was the first part of, the week. The second week that started, on the 18th, I think the 16th. Yeah, the 22nd, the week of the 22nd, I think. It is what we call the CFS, that is the Committee on World Food Security. Okay, so that is important because now the things that we're talking about, the food safety standards and all that, and these are global standards. How does it become a global standard? It becomes a global standard because it gets negotiated at the global level. So that is where the things like your food, the Committee on World Food Security comes in. And there are, in terms of food safety, there are codex and things like that. Yeah. So this committee plays a very significant role because this is where different, policy issues get negotiated. So I play a role also at that level. The CFS, as we call it, and I've been participating in the CFS since 2015, where you can either participate as a member state, which is the country. So if you participate as a country, you have to be working for each country, and there's ambassadors and things like that. But they also have 2 other ways that people can participate. One is what we call the private sector mechanism, which means every private sector, including the small, medium enterprises and things like that, big companies and all that, can participate through the private sector and have their voice heard when these things get negotiated. The other way that people can participate is through what we call the civil society and indigenous people mechanism. So which means NGOs as well, either as individuals or as organizations, are able to participate and hear their voices heard there. Yeah, I think maybe in the nutshell, this is how it is happening. And I am happy, Mandla. I remember last year when I invited you, I said, Mandla, I mean, the things that we are doing at the country level, I think it could actually be valuable at the global level. And you hit the call. Last year, I remember we went there together. And this year, you were also invited by the CFS themselves, for you to participate there. So I've been participating in these places, but I want you to share your experiences as well, to say, I mean, since you started participating last year, what are some of the things that are happening in the background? Yeah. So that people can, because people keep on asking, yeah, but they think, this is something that is far-fetched and whatever. But if you can see individual people like me and you engaging in those spaces, so can you, I mean, anyone that is listening, they can be able to participate in these spaces. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
Okay. Um, So how do I put it? So for someone to participate at that level, so if I can put it this way, so the CFS and your World Food Program at that level is the epitome of 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 what of the
Decision-making,
highest level of food security or anything to do with food. So if
decision.
you like, it's the global parliament of everything and anything to do with food, with an objective of us realizing our SDG goals and at large achieving food security as
Mm,
the globe.
mm,
So participating at that level starts with you participating locally. So you
mm.
need to identify your niche of participation and your level of expertise locally, and you establish yourself there.
Excellent.
So once you have established yourself locally, and then now you can use in the channel that Doc has already mentioned to go into CFS, which is either your private sector mechanism, of which we as Masana dietitians belong to. We
Mm,
are part of private sector mechanism, and within the private sector mechanisms, there are different committees that are there. So the
mm,
committees seek to address an issue that either is a hindrance or promote us being able to achieve food security as the globe. So,
mm.
for example, I also participate in the committee addressing inequalities
Equalities,
by
yeah.
choosing food security and nutrition globally. So now, as a business person, because this is private sector mechanism, as a
Mm,
business people, what is your role in helping the world to achieve global food security, for example? So you share, if you are coming, from South Africa, you share your activities as private sector in South Africa. What are you doing to help the world
mm,
achieve that objective of getting food security eventually? So that's how you come in. There are also different groupings. There are those that come in through the government stream. So they
mm.
just come in and present what policies and what strategies their governments are doing. And here we are talking about how many people, around 150 member states. These are different countries that are part of the global CFS grouping. So you get to share
More. Yeah, it's
your
even,
as in 190 some
it's a
yeah
195,
yes
195 countries,
yes
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you get to participate, and also what I like, Doc, once I got to share my insights at a local level, and then I get to hear other case studies and how they are also
Mhm.
addressing issues. And it's so funny how you think your issues are only exclusive for South Africa, but when you go out, you get
Yeah.
to be exposed to other issues that are even far worse than we are, and you get to share their case
Mhm.
studies and their best practices. So this year, by the grace of God, and also via my mentor, who's my co-host here, I got selected to be one of the people who were to go and present in what they call the plenary. The
Mm.
plenary is like that parliament sitting where the chair of CFS is our ambassador who's based in Rome, our Rome ambassador. So that
Yeah.
was very lovely, because then we were called from different groupings to come and present how we are actually achieving or driving activities that will help our different countries and eventually the globe to achieve what we call the right to food. So that
Absolutely.
was brilliant, and it was very short because the timing was not much, so we could not even expand, but it was a very pleasant, scary, but very
Yeah.
interesting environment to participate in. So this is open to anyone. That
Absolutely.
is what I need to leave people with. It's open to anyone. It's not only open to an exclusive few. As long as you participate in the food sector,
Yeah.
join the local groupings that seek to achieve the SDG goal number 2, which is ending hunger, and
Yeah.
then slowly go up the ladder of all this until you get to a point where you get recognized and your name gets forwarded to one office to the other until you get that invite. But it's open to anyone.
Yeah, I like that, Mandla. I really like that. It has always been my wish because, like I said, I started participating in this and through somebody recommending me since 2015. And for the longest time, especially in the private sector mechanism space, I have been the only South African there, literally for the longest time. And I always wanted, to bring, more South Africans and things like that. And I'm happy, that this year South Africans were really heavily represented. DJ Messi, I want you to show, some few pictures before the end of, the show. Um, and when you got invited to go on stage, I was so happy. I was really, really so happy. So let's see some pictures, DJ Messi. Uh, Okay. Oh, okay. So no, so this one was the pictures for, remember I was in Rome for 2 weeks. So the first week where we're talking about the World Food Forum, including the science, and innovation forum. So here I was facilitating and wearing some hats that were presented by some farmers, from I think it was Egypt there. So let's see some more pictures. There we go. Uh, let's see. DJ Messi, I see the picture of Mandla there. It's actually coming. There we go. Yeah, part of the private sector mechanism. So we had, our briefing sessions here. You can see my co-host there. Oh, that was really, really, really nice. Some more pictures. There's somewhere where Mandla is really on stage and parliament. And, I just felt so proud, to see you there, my sister. And your story, it's a global story. Yeah.
No, but
Uh,
the way you also took the cup by, I mean, South Africa was one of the best represented countries. I mean, even the chairperson had to mention that. He was like, no, thank you, South Africa. We're glad you could accommodate us into because you had really painted that place with South Africa. And I think that was a proud moment. And we need more people to be part of that.
it is. It was a proud moment. But anyway, we only have 3 minutes to go. So I'm hoping that, next year we could even do it a little bit bigger. Next year, the Food and Agriculture Organization celebrates. Oh, okay. So those are pictures behind the scenes there. So the
Mm.
Food and Agriculture Organization celebrates 80 years. So you
Mm.
can imagine how the food, oh, there we go. Okay, DJ Messi, go to the previous one, previous one.
No, no.
There we go. That is Manda. So we're having, very high level conversations there. I mean, when you are at that level, you really have, high level conversations. So yeah, I'm
Yeah,
hoping that next year we can budget and,
yeah.
go there and make it really big.
I think we
So
need to mobilize. We need to mobilize big businesses. We need to sell programs such as this one funded by Food Bevsita, even to Food Bevsita. We need to
mm,
find time when we go, where we go and present that, food and food security is everyone's business. So it serves us as a country to have a
mm,
bigger representation out there in the world, because then it
absolutely.
means what we are doing can make a difference, not only for us, but for everyone else. Yeah.
Yeah. And I always say, Mandla, I always say, if you are not part of those negotiations that are happening there, be rest assured that whatever compliance issues like we're talking about, you are complying about things that have been negotiated by other people. Yeah.
Yep.
If your
Mm.
voice is not there at the negotiation table, whether it's SDGs, whether it's, food safety, whether it's, I don't know, environmental impact and whatever, if you are not part of that negotiation at the table, be rest assured that you are implementing something that has been negotiated by others. And the space is open, for you to get, to those places. People might be asking, do we get paid to do that? No, it's a volunteer. We are volunteering our time because we know how important it is to bring, our voices at that table. Wow. Yeah, I think this is what we have, time for today. And I'm seeing we have, one minute, to go. I think from my side, the last, if people want to get to know more about, these and how you can participate, please feel free to contact us. You can, follow me on my social media platform, and you can also follow Mandla. We are happy to share if you are able to volunteer your time, because this is there is no remuneration that is linked to this, but we feel it's very important. Some of the things that we are grappling with, I mean, it makes us to be five years ahead of our peers, because now we know what will be trending Mandla in the next 5 years, because we are part of the global space where the negotiations are taking place. And I think it is something worth investing time in. Mandla, your final word?
No, 100%, Doc. I mean, everyone should understand that every one of us have a right to safe, nutritious, and affordable and easily accessible food. It's our right. So it doesn't make sense that we still have issues where children die by consuming something that they thought was food. So clearly we have a problem, and it's not someone else's problem. Food and food safety and security is everyone's problem. So we are urging people to actually come on board and make the voice louder, so that we can teach each other and we can expose each other to these things, so that we can make informed. I actually think, Doc, for the interest of time, we need to set up a master class where we actually expand on these topics and help people who are really keen and interested in coming into the food sector.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Thank you so much, DJ Messi, our technical producer. We want to thank, the Bold Move Radio for always, giving us, this slot where we talk about the African experience. We see you again next week, same time, same place. Manda, I will be broadcasting live from Hyderabad in India next week. So it never stops. Yeah, it's a topic. We'll be talking about gender issues there. But anyway, thank you so much. And we stop here for tonight. And this is the African Experience. And thank you for listening, and thank you for joining.
Good night. Bye.
Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is. Streaming 24/7. 24/7.
Bold Moves Radio.
Bold Moves Radio.
Afrika nakupenda sana, oh Afrika nakupenda sana.